what is up, my beautiful bros? Maine-iac here. Playoff picture as it is, or whatever it is, just an NBA Sunday thing we do. It's kind of two things. I just talk about hypothetical matchups of if the current standings would actually play out today, and we see what NBA 2K has to say about it, because we do it with the live roster, so it does change every week, with the Warriors usually dominating every time. I think they've won every single time I've done this so far. But we'll make this relatively quick. We have the Warriors at the Mavericks. I think this would easily be a 4-game sweep. And then you have the Clippers at the Lakers. I think the Lakers would actually win this one in 7. I like the matchup there. Clippers falling from the 1 seed to the 3rd, 4th seed is kind of concerning. They're on a little skid, so hopefully they do bounce back. Lakers coming up to the 5th seed is incredible. Having a huge run lately with LeBron lighting everyone up. Recent loss to the Spurs might cause a little bit of a concern just because how bad the Spurs have been playing. But, there's not much you can do about it still. LA versus LA in a round would actually be kind of awesome. Then you have the Nuggets at the Grizzlies. A bunch of young, athletic players who aren't like amazing all-stars for NBA first team against a bunch of grizzled veterans who still play extremely well. With Joakim Noah having a good game. Having a good game so far. Should be an interesting game. I picked the Nuggets in 6. I think the veterans do sneak a couple, especially in Memphis. And you have the Thunder at the Trailblazers. Battle of inconsistent teams, and what I mean by that is Lillard usually puts them up, but Portland as a team for some reason struggles. They are currently only 15 and 11 and 5 and 7 on the road. That's what I'm looking at here. They're 5 and 7 on the road, and the Thunder are 9 and 3 at home. So I think in 7 the Thunder would win this one. I think it would be amazing to see Damian Lillard versus Russell Westbrook in a playoff series. I think it'd be fun. And then on the east side, you have Toronto against Orlando. I think this would be a 4-game sweep. I like Orlando, but Siakam is being tremendous for the Raptors. So you put Siakam and then you put Ibaka up against Vucevic, and I think Orlando gets shut down. And then you have Indy at Boston. I think Boston wins this one in 5. Boston's starting to get their rhythm back. They've won, I believe, 4 straight or something like that. Not doing too good on the road, so that is a concern. They're only 8 and 7 on the road, but I think they could sneak a couple. Did struggle last year, but who knows? Then you got Milwaukee at Detroit. I think it's kind of a battle of opposites here. You got Giannis and the guards of Milwaukee. I think honestly dominates who's best on their team. And the Pistons have Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. They would have to rely on those two to neutralize Giannis in the paint, make him shoot from longer range, take lower percentage shots, stuff like that, if they wanted a chance. I think Milwaukee would win in 5. And you have Philadelphia at Charlotte. If the Embiid issue is serious, the Sixers could start collapsing. I don't think it is. He's not liking his new role with Jimmy Butler being probably the main focal point now. But Butler's having incredible success for the 76ers. But I do think that the Hornets managed to steal 1. This would be interesting. Let me know what you guys think of these matchups currently, and we'll see who makes it through the current round. Maybe go over who the next rounds would be, but things happen. Oh, this is actually very, very interesting here. Grizzlies did steal 2, like I said. The Warriors swept. The Raptors swept, like I said. The Bucks 1 in 5, kind of like I said. The 76ers won, like I said. Pacers 1 in 7, which is kind of cool. Denver, or I should say, the Clippers got swept. So you have LeBron against Golden State, and then Trailblazers 1 in 6, which is amazing. One thing I wish NBA 2K would incorporate is road ratings and home ratings, because some certain players play worse on the road, and I think ratings on road games should affect that, but it might be a little bit too much. Let's see. Warriors to Lakers, 5-game gentleman sweep rate in this one. LeBron, probably the only advantage they have in this one, and they'd probably have to play him at the 4 for him to have an advantage position-wise, just because Golden State's full of so many shooters. And you have Denver at Portland. I think Denver wins that one in 6. I like the athleticism. Jokic would play a huge part. Raptors, I think they'd win in 5. I think Oladipo and Sabonis would manage to at least steal one. Otherwise, Raptors are too dominating. Philly, Milwaukee, I think Philly wins this one in 6. Giannis is probably the best player in the East right now outside of Kawhi Leonard. But I don't think there's enough around him. I think Philadelphia has overall the more talent. And let's see. Lakers stole 2. Interesting. Denver 1 in 6. Also very interesting. And Philly 1 in 6, like I thought. And Indy lost in 5, but still won, like I thought. So this sets up Golden State versus Denver, Toronto versus Philly, which would be very interesting. I've also noticed in simulations, Boston rarely ever makes it out of the first or second round, which is very, very interesting indeed. I think this one would be Golden State in 6, and I think overall the shooting capabilities of Golden State is a little bit too much for Denver, but I definitely think Denver can win a couple, maybe 3. They do have probably the best chance so far of any of the other 2 teams to beat Golden State, but I still don't think they will. Then you have Toronto at Philly. The overall ferocity of Toronto I like, but you have the athleticism and competitiveness of the Philadelphia 76ers. And what I mean is, it seems like Embiid's just a little bit more physical, but seems like the Raptors are a little bit more tough. So I'd pick the Raptors in 6 in this one. The Raptors swept the Sixers, so another Raptors Warriors matchup, which, of course, like always, Warriors win, and like always, Steph Curry MVP. Anyway, I would say so far, if I go over the standings, if you made it this far, I thank you. But going over the standings, biggest surprise from this time to the last would have to be definitely the Kings. Well, not the Kings dropping out. I'd say the Mavericks sneaking in. Not only that, but Minnesota and Utah and New Orleans right on the edge right there. Right on the edge. So a little slip up from the Trailblazers or Grizzlies, and it could be over for them. They could fall behind. Well, not over, but they could fall behind. And Minnesota actually doing better after the Jimmy Butler trade is huge. Rockets still the second worst team in the West. Absolutely terrible and dreadful for them. But the funny thing about that is they still have a better record than 6 of the teams in the East. They are the second worst team in the West, but if they were in the East, they would be half a game back of 8th, which is absolutely hilarious. Anyway, guys, see you next week.